The Zarnex patrol ship drifted silently above the dark remains of old Earth. From orbit, the once blue planet looked lifeless, burned, cracked, and silent. No cities, no oceans, no green. Just ash and scars from the Great War that ended human civilization 100 years ago. Commander Vierex stood at the front of the ship, his yellow reptilian eyes locked on the dead world below. It had been routine. Another scan to confirm that Earth was still empty. Another patrol to satisfy the Empire. Then it happened. A sharp beep echoed from the control panel. The signal officer, a younger Zarnex named Creel, looked up, confused. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission." Vierex narrowed his eyes. "From where?" Creel stared at the screen. "Earth, sir. From under the surface. Deep underground." "That's not possible," Vierex growled. "No one is there. No one has been for a century." Creel hesitated. "It's in ancient human code, unbroken, original formatting. It's real." A cold silence filled the bridge. Vierex stepped closer. He watched the screen as the code repeated itself, again and again, steady and confident like a heartbeat. The signal was simple, yet chilling. "We are here." The bridge crew exchanged nervous looks. Vierex slammed his clawed hand. "On the table. This is a trick, a malfunction. Check the source." Creel worked fast, fingers dancing over the controls. "No malfunction. It's real, Commander. Depth reads 8 kilometers below the old continent. Power signature, human-made. Old tech, but functioning." Vierex's mind raced. He remembered the history. The war with humanity had ended in fire. Billions had died. The Zarnex had used orbital plasma strikes, poisoned the atmosphere, and sent drones to clean up survivors. Their records claimed 100% extinction. But now, the humans were speaking. He turned to the communications officer. "Block the signal. No transmissions leave this ship, not yet." "Understood, Commander." Vierex stared at Earth again. His claws twitched. "Prepare a drop drone. We're going to confirm this ourselves." Moments later, a black drone launched from the ship. It pierced Earth's weak atmosphere and headed toward the source. The crew watched the screen as it descended, through layers of ash, collapsed buildings, and ancient ruins. The drone sent back images, broken towers, burned forests, shattered roads, and then a strange metallic surface underground. The drone paused. A faint red light blinked from inside the structure. Suddenly, the feed cut to static. "What happened?" Vierex barked. "No idea," said Creel. "We lost contact. Something blocked it." Before Vierex could respond, a second alert beeped. The ship's sensors picked up something. A pulse. Not a weapon, not heat, a wave. Like sonar, it passed through them, slow and deliberate. The lights flickered. Then the crew heard it. A voice. Human. Female. Speaking in English. Old English. "You are not welcome here." The voice came from their own speakers. They hadn't connected any audio. No one had authorized a link. The sound wasn't coming from Earth, it was inside the ship's systems. Vierex stepped back. "Shut it down. Now!" Creel tried. Nothing responded. Another voice followed. Male this time. "You thought we died. You were wrong." Suddenly, warning lights flashed. The ship's engines powered down. Gravity shifted. The lights dimmed. One by one, systems went offline. "Commander!" shouted the pilot. "We're losing control!" The ship trembled. Outside, the stars blurred. A strange distortion grew in space. A black hole? No. A controlled field. A fold space. Human tech. Impossible. Then, silence. Complete silence. From Earth's surface, nothing could be seen. The Zarnex ship had simply vanished. One moment it was there, the next, gone. No explosion, no debris, no trace. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in a chamber of metal and light, a human woman stood watching a screen. Her name was Commander Rhea. She wore black armor with an old Earth symbol, a blue and green globe inside a star. Around her, machines hummed quietly. Other humans moved through the shadows, checking systems, watching monitors. She spoke calmly. "One patrol ship removed, others will come." An old AI voice answered her. "They believe you are dead, they are wrong." She nodded. "Let them come. This time, we're ready." And the signal kept pulsing. "We are here." The dark walls of the underground base hummed softly as power flowed through its hidden systems. Deep beneath the ruins of Earth, under layers of burned soil and broken cities, humanity was alive and preparing. Commander Rhea walked through the command center. Her black armor reflected the soft blue light from the screens. Her eyes were focused, calm, but behind them, years of silence and waiting burned like fire. Beside her walked Aaron, her second in command, taller and broader, his face marked with old battle scars. He carried a data pad, reading the ship log. 1. Zarnax patrol ship neutralized. No distress call sent. All systems remain invisible to external scans, he reported. Rhea nodded. "Good. Keep it that way." She looked at the center screen where the signal pulsed again. It was a heartbeat from Earth's core, the message they had waited 100 years to send. "We are here." Humans were supposed to be extinct. The Zarnax Empire had bombed every city, poisoned the sky, and sent their machines to burn the survivors. What they didn't know was that before the final strikes, a secret project had begun. A deep-buried network of human sanctuaries, powered by fusion cores and protected by ancient AI. Only a few thousand had made it inside before the sky turned. And now, after a century of hiding, they were back. Rhea turned to an older man sitting in a mechanical chair. His body was weak, supported by wires and machines, but his mind was sharp. He was Admiral Holt, one of the last original commanders of the old Earth fleet. "They'll send more," he said, his voice rough but steady. "The Zarnax don't ignore strange signals for long." Rhea stepped closer. "Then we have to move fast. We're no longer survivors. We're soldiers." Admiral Holt smiled faintly. "Then it's time to wake up the others." Across the base, deep in a sealed chamber, lights flickered on. Rows of sleeping pods opened with soft hisses. Men and women inside began to wake up. Soldiers, engineers, pilots, scientists, all trained, all ready. Each had one thing in common: they had lost everything to the Zarnax. Aaron moved quickly, handing out weapons, armor, and data pads. He spoke loudly. "You've trained for this moment your entire lives. We are the last of Earth, and now we strike back." One soldier, Mira, stepped forward. She was young, but her eyes were hard. "Where are we going, Commander?" Rhea walked. "To a large display that showed a glowing path through space. To a colony the Zarnax built on Mars," she said. "We know their patrol schedules, we know their blind spots. We've watched them for years, we're going to take their base, we're in their tech." Aaron added, "Our stealth ship is ready. The shadow light can get us close without detection." Another soldier deck frowned. "We don't have many ships. If we lose even one—" "We're not losing anything," Rhea said firmly. "We move fast, we hit hard, we leave no trace." In the hangar, the shadow light stood waiting. Black and sleek, shaped like a dagger, it was built from old Earth tech and upgraded with stolen alien parts. It had no engines the Zarnax could trace. It flew like a ghost, silent and invisible. Rhea and her team suited up and entered the ship. Inside, every seat was tight, every system manual, no autopilot, no backup, just humans, metal and will. As the hatch closed, Aaron looked at her. "Are we really ready for this?" Rhea stared ahead. "They thought we were dead. That was their mistake." The ship lifted, silent and smooth. It passed through old tunnels, then shot into the open sky. For the first time in a century, a human vessel left Earth, not in fear but in purpose. Above them, space opened like a black ocean. Stars blinked in silence. And far away, Mars waited. Inside the command center, Admiral Holt watched the ship vanish from the screen. He turned to the AI beside him, an old machine named Hallex, once used in the last human war. "Do you believe in victory, Hallex?" the old man asked. The AI answered in a calm voice. "Humans survive. That is your pattern. That is your strength." "Admiral," Holt smiled. "Then let's remind them what humanity truly is." In space, the shadow light disappeared into the stars, the first of many. Because humanity was never gone, they were just waiting. The shadow light glided through the cold black of space like a silent blade. No sound, no light. Invisible to the Zarnex patrols. Inside, the small human crew sat tight, eyes on their screens, hands ready on controls. Commander Rhea stood behind, the pilot watching the glowing red dot on the navigation display. They weren't headed toward the Zarnex colony directly. They were going to Mars, but to a place long forgotten. A hidden site, a graveyard, a vault. Rhea whispered to herself. The old fleet, buried beneath the surface. Years ago, when the war seemed lost, Earth's High Command had made one final move: hide the best warships deep under the Martian soil, covered in red rock and thick shielding, powered down completely. Their mission: sleep until recalled. That recall had just been sent. The signal Rhea had sent earlier wasn't only for the Zarnex. It was also a wake-up call. The shadow light dropped into low orbit above Mars. The red planet glowed under them, silent and dusty. There were no cities here anymore, just empty plains and broken satellites. Aaron leaned forward, pointing to the screen. "We're close. Signal is strongest beneath Noctis Labyrinthus." The ship descended fast. At 300 meters above the ground, the hull shimmered and opened, revealing a strange shimmer like a heat wave in midair. A cloaking field. The shadow light flew right through it. Suddenly the red dust cleared and massive doors were visible under the surface, huge metal slabs marked with the faded symbol of Earth's old navy. Everyone on board went quiet. "Open." "Them," Rhea ordered. Mira tapped the controls. "Sending old Earth code now." The ship's system blinked once, then twice. The ground rumbled. Slowly, the metal doors began to slide open with a deep, heavy sound. Dust and rock shook off the old plates. A dark tunnel opened beneath them, wide enough to fit a battleship. Lights flickered on, one blue and gold. Inside, they saw them. 5 massive ships, black and silver, resting in silence. Each was longer than 5 city blocks. Cannons lined their sides. Their hulls still bore battle scars from the final days of the war. Engines dark, guns cold, but whole. "The forgotten fleet," Rhea said softly. "Still waiting." They guided the shadow light into the largest hangar and docked. As they stepped out, the air smelled of metal and old fuel. Gravity was stable. Lights buzzed above. Still, running on nuclear backup power after all these years, a voice echoed through the large chamber. "Robotic. Male. Commander identity confirmed. Earth fleet access granted." The team froze. "It's the ship's AI," Aaron said. "It still works?" Rhea nodded. "They were built to survive 1,000 years. They walked through the central hallway of the largest ship, the EHS Valiant. Screens turned on automatically as they passed. Old war maps flickered. The ship seemed alive again. Then came a message. "Mission incomplete. Awaiting command." Rhea stepped forward. "Mission is reactivated. Earth needs you." A pause. "Threat. Zarnex Empire still present?" "Yes," Rhea said. "They believe humanity is extinct. They control this system." A long silence followed. Then the ship answered. "Understood. Preparing for re-engagement." All around them, lights came on. Turbines started to hum. Engines began warming. Guns rotated slowly, testing movement. The ship was waking up. Then came the problem. An alarm. DNA mismatch detected. Human ID level. Unconfirmed. Command override required. Suddenly, metal doors slammed shut. Gas hissed from hidden vents. "What's happening?" Mira shouted. The ship doesn't fully trust us, Rhea said. Too much time has passed, our DNA has evolved. The AI thinks we're not original crew. A cold voice echoed again. Security protocol, crew unverified, lockdown initiated. The walls lit up red, floor plates sealed shut. Their weapons were locked in magnet fields. They were trapped. Aaron banged on the door. This is insane, we're human. No, Rhea said. We need to prove it. Not with words. With memory. She walked to a side console and placed her palm on a reader. A soft blue light scanned her skin. I was born in Vault 7. My mother died of radiation sickness. I learned to fight with VR training in scraps. My first kill was a drone scout that found us. I've waited my whole life to come here. The light blinked once, twice, then turned green. Emotional imprint confirmed. Human pain level. Authentic. Welcome, Commander Rhea. The doors unlocked. Gas cleared. The ship's voice softened. Commander accepted. Other crew now recognized. The lights turned back to white. Rhea breathed out slowly. The ship had tested her humanity, not through ID, but through suffering. She looked at her team. This ship doesn't need orders, it needs trust. The Valiant powered up fully. The room shook gently. Outside, the other ships in the fleet began waking too. One by one, ancient Earth war machines came alive under the red sky of Mars. Mira stepped to the window. So what now? Rhea stared into space. Now we take the fight back to the stars, and, above them, the galaxy still believed humanity was gone. They were about to be very wrong. The Valiant broke through the thin Martian atmosphere like a ghost returning from the dead. Its hull shimmered with new power, its weapons now online for the first time in 100 years. Behind it, the other 4 ships of the Forgotten Fleet rose from the red dust like giants shaking off the grave. Inside the bridge, Commander Rhea stood tall, eyes focused on the star map projected in front of her. Around her, the crew worked quickly, guided by ancient systems and quiet voices. Every step felt like history, like the start of something too big to stop. We have one chance, she said. Hit them before they know we're alive. Aaron nodded. Target confirmed. The Zarnex refueling station at Kepler 9 orbit. It supplies 3 sectors. If we take it out, they'll feel it. Rhea turned to the pilot, a young woman named Naya. Get us close but unseen. Yes, Commander, Nia said, gripping the controls. The fleet moved together, silent and deadly. No broadcasts, no signals. Just 5 Earth ships flying through the stars, hunting. Rhea walked to the weapons officer, Mira, who stood at a control panel lined with touchscreens. Load plasma cannons. Full charge. No warning shots, Rhea ordered. Mira looked nervous. We've never done this before. We were born for this, Rhea said. And we're not alone. We have the ghosts of Earth with us. Hours passed in quiet tension. Then, the warning came. Visual contact with Kepler 9 station, Aaron said. 3 destroyer-class Zarnex ships are guarding it. No sign they've detected us. Rhea smiled. Good. On the screen, the station looked like a giant ring floating, in space glowing with green and red lights. Smaller Zarnex ships buzzed around it like insects. Fuel lines stretched from the station to nearby cargo ships. It was busy, full of activity, and completely unaware. Rhea gave the command. Split formation. 1 ship above, 1 below, 3 from the sides. Surround them, and wait for my signal. The fleet moved like wolves in the dark. Inside the station, Zarnex commanders laughed and drank. They celebrated the destruction of Earth a century ago. To them, the war was over. Humanity was a memory, a myth. They had no idea what was coming. Then the first cannon fired. The Valiant launched a plasma shot that tore through the nearest destroyer like paper. No warning, no mercy. The second ship, the Arclight, came from above and dropped a payload of kinetic bombs that exploded in silence but shattered half the station's docking ports. Fire and debris spread out into the void. Alarms screamed across the Zarnex fleet. The enemy scrambled to respond, but it was too late. From below, the Hellion shot a focused beam into the reactor of the second Zarnex ship. It cracked, then vanished, in a flash of white light. Inside the Valiant, Mira yelled, "They're trying to retreat." "Don't let them," Rhea said coldly. "Not a single one escapes." The final Zarnex destroyer tried to jump to light speed, but the shadow light had already slipped in behind it, cloaked. It fired one clean shot. The Zarnex ship split apart. Then, silence. Kepler 9 station, once proud and busy, now floated in ruins. Fires burned along its side. Dozens of Zarnex crew escaped in pods, but the humans didn't chase them. That wasn't the mission. "Target destroyed," Aaron confirmed. "Minimal damage to our side." Naya turned from the controls. "That was too easy." Rhea shook her head. It was never about winning today. It was about sending a message. Mira looked up. "What message?" Rhea stared into the black space beyond. "Humanity is not extinct. We are back, and we remember, Andri." The far edge of the battlefield, a small Zarnex probe, unnoticed, recorded everything. It zipped away into deep space, carrying the impossible footage: Earth warships, human faces, weapons they thought were gone forever. Inside the Zarnex High Command, deep in their capital world, the probe arrived hours later. The footage played in a dark room before the High Council. The Zarnex Supreme Strategist stood silently as he watched the destruction. Behind him, other commanders whispered, "Impossible. Those ships were destroyed in the Earth War. How did they survive?" Then the strategist turned and said only 2 words. "They're back." Back aboard the Valiant, Rhea called a private meeting in the central chamber with her officers. "This was just the beginning," she said. "They'll send scouts, spies, maybe full fleets. We have to be ready." Aaron nodded. "And what about the other human vaults?" Rhea's eyes hardened. "We activate them." On her screen, she opened the old network. Dozens of hidden vaults across the solar system. Buried on moons, under oceans, inside asteroids, all sleeping. She sent the code. Across space, hidden bases, lit up one by one. Humans began to stir. The resistance had begun, and the galaxy was no longer safe for the Zarnex. The silence in space was shattered by a sudden explosion. Far from the human fleet, a small scout ship burned brightly as it tore apart under enemy fire. The Zarnex were quick to react. Inside the Valiant, alarms blared. Red lights flashed urgently. Across the control panels, "Incoming Zarnex patrol ships," Aaron shouted. "They're close, too close." Rhea's heart raced, but her voice stayed steady. "Prepare all weapons. Raise shields. We're not hiding anymore." The crew snapped. Into action. Plasma cannons powered up with bright hums, missile bays unlocked with soft clicks, and shield generators thrummed as energy surged through the ship's armor. Outside, through the thick glass of the bridge, 3 sleek Zarnex fighters appeared from the darkness. Their sharp shapes moved fast, weaving through the stars like deadly arrows. Mira's fingers flew over the weapons panel. They're attacking in formation, spread out but coordinated. Rhea clenched her fists. "Then we hit them with everything we have." The Valiant turned hard to face the attackers. Plasma bolts flew from its cannons, lighting up the black space like stars exploding. One fighter was hit, its engine flaring, and it spun out of control, crashing toward a distant asteroid. But the other 2 closed in quickly. One fired a missile, locking onto the Valiant's shield. The explosion rocked the ship, throwing Rhea off balance. "Damage report," she demanded. "Shield strength down 40%, Aaron said grimly. "Hull integrity holding." Rhea took a deep breath. "Mira, target their lead ship. Nia, evasive maneuvers. Hard left, then roll." The Valiant twisted sharply, dodging another volley of plasma. The crew's training showed in their smooth teamwork. Suddenly, the lead Zarnex fighter was caught. In a blast from the Valiant's plasma cannons, it exploded in a shower of sparks and metal. "2 down, 1 to go," Mira said, eyes focused on her controls. The last fighter charged straight at the Valiant. It fired a pulse weapon that sent a shockwave across the hull. "Hull breach in Sector 4, Aaron shouted. "Pressure dropping." Ria's voice cut through the chaos. "Seal off Sector 4. Get damage control teams there now." The crew moved. Quickly, and automated doors sealed the damaged section. Oxygen levels stabilized. The fighter came in again, faster this time. Naya banked the Valiant hard, dodging just in time. Ria knew the fight was far from over. Suddenly, a new sound filled the ship, the deep hum of engines powering up. "Fleet jump detected," Aaron said, eyes wide. "More ships incoming. At least 5 Capital-class cruisers." The Valiant was outnumbered. Ria's mind raced. "We can't win by running. We have to make a stand." She activated the comms channel. "All ships, prepare for battle formation. Delta, we fight together or we don't fight at all." The other ships of the Forgotten Fleet responded instantly. Their weapons lit up, shields flared, and engines roared. Space around Mars turned into a battlefield. Blasts of plasma and missile trails lit the darkness. Ships dodged, fired, and weaved through deadly barrages. The Valiant's guns locked onto a cruiser twice their size. Firing plasma barrage. Mira shouted. The cruiser shook violently as the plasma struck its armor. "Keep pushing," Ria ordered. But the enemy fought back hard. A missile slammed into the Helion, one of the supporting ships. Flames burst from its side. "Helion hit, sending distress signals," came the voice over the comms. Ria's jaw tightened. "Hold the line. Don't let them break through." As the battle raged, the shadow light slipped through the chaos, cloaked and silent. It carried a secret team of commandos, humans trained for stealth and sabotage. Their mission, to disable the enemy's main power source on the surface of Mars. The commandos landed in a small pod, hidden by dust storms. "We move fast," their leader whispered. "We strike and get out before they know what hit them." Back on the Valiant, Ria felt a spark of hope. The fight was brutal, but the war was just beginning. The Zarnex had thought humanity was extinct. They were about to learn they were very wrong. The red dust swirled around the small pod as it landed quietly on Mars's surface. The human commandos slipped out, their boots sinking slightly into the dry soil. Their leader, Talon, looked up at the dark sky, where distant battleships flashed like distant storms. "Stay sharp," he whispered. "The Zarnex will be hunting for us." The team moved fast, keeping low behind rocky outcrops. They followed the map etched into their HUDs, heading for the hidden power facility that kept the Zarnex fleet supplied with energy. "This place looks abandoned," said Lyra, scanning with her handheld scanner. "Don't trust it," Talon warned. "Zarnex love traps." They reached the massive entrance hidden behind a curtain of rusted metal plates. Talon placed his palm on the old human code scanner. A soft beep answered. The doors hissed open, revealing a cavern filled with humming machines and glowing energy cores. Inside, giant reactors pulsed with power, sending energy beams up through satellites to the fleet above. Talon's eyes narrowed. This is what keeps their fleet alive. "Time to make it die," said Jek, the demolitions expert. They planted small charges on the main reactors, working quietly but fast. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their feet. "Movement," Lyra hissed. "Zarnex patrol incoming." The team hid behind control panels. A group of Zarnex soldiers entered, their armor shining under the harsh lights. Talon held up his hand. "Wait for my signal." The Zarnex moved slowly, scanning. One reached toward a console. Talon's heart pounded. Then, with a sudden burst, the commandos sprang into action. Silent but deadly, they struck. Talon disabled the nearest guard with a stun baton. Lyra threw a smoke grenade. The room filled with thick gray smoke. Chaos erupted. Jek pressed the detonator. "Charges set to explode in 30 seconds, he whispered urgently. They ran for the exit as the smoke cleared and alarms screamed. Outside, explosions rocked the facility. The reactors erupted in fire and sparks. The power beams cut off one by one. Far above, the Zarnex fleet suddenly shuddered. "Power failing," came the alarm from the Valiant. Rhea gritted her teeth. Good work down there. This will slow them. But the battle was far from over. Back on the Valiant, a new alert flashed. Zarnek's reinforcements incoming, Aaron said grimly. A full battle group, twice their original force. Rhea stared at the screen. We'll need every weapon we have. On the surface, the commandos hurried to their extraction point. The ground still trembled beneath them. A shadow moved in. The distance. Zarnek's soldiers were closing in. Talon raised his weapon. We fight our way out. For Earth. For humanity. The war for survival had only just begun. The battle in space and on Mars reached a terrifying peak. The Valiant and the Forgotten Fleet fought with everything they had, plasma blasts lighting the dark void like deadly fireworks. Ships exploded, sending shards of metal into the silence. Inside the Valiant, Commander Rhea stood firm. Her face was tired but determined. The energy shields flickered as they held against the Zarnek's assault. Aaron, status? She asked. We're holding, but only just. Hull integrity at 60%. Enemy reinforcements keep coming, he answered. Rhea took a deep breath. Prepare the final attack. Her crew worked quickly, loading the ancient Earth weapon, a powerful pulse cannon designed to disable entire fleets at once. This weapon could end the battle, Mira said quietly. But if it fails, we're done. We have no choice, Rhea said. For humanity's future, we fight. Meanwhile, on Mars, Talon and his commandos were surrounded. Zarnek's soldiers closed in from all sides. Their radios crackled with urgent calls for backup. Talon raised his weapon and shouted, "For Earth, for humanity!" They fought fiercely, each step pushing back against impossible odds. The dust around them swirled with the sound of gunfire and explosions. Suddenly, a burst of energy shot across the sky. The Valiant's pulse cannon firing. The weapon's wave rippled through space, hitting the Zarnek's fleets hard. Ships lost power, their engines dying as the pulse passed over them. Inside the enemy capital ship, alarms blared. Systems failed. The Zarnek's commanders stared in shock. Rhea watched the screens. It's working. They're falling back. But the fight was not over. The Zarnek's regrouped and launched one last desperate attack. Their leader, Supreme Strategist Krell, appeared on the Valiant's communication screen. You are fools, humans, he said coldly. You cannot win. We will crush you. Rhea stared back, her voice steady. We survived your destruction. We rose from ashes you thought were cold. Humanity is not just alive. We are stronger than ever. Krell's face twisted in anger. Then come and face extinction. Rhea smiled. We already did. We won. With the pulse cannon still charged, the Valiant led the final charge. The Zarnek's fleet shattered, retreating into the void. On Mars, the last Zarnek soldiers surrendered or fled. Talon and his team stood victorious but weary. Back on the Valiant, the crew cheered softly, their faces showing relief and hope. Rhea looked out at the stars. We are back, she said quietly. And we will never be forgotten. Humanity's story was not over. It had just begun.